First of all, let me get your thoughts on this massive bear run which we've been having on the equity market. In your view, when do you see us turning the corner?
Well, the truth of the matter is that right now it's difficult to say, quite honestly, because there's so many odds piled against us. We have the revision of the MPR going up at 6.25%. Already the banks are beginning to take a cue from that, and their deposit rates have started to go up. Now, typically when one market is going up, the other one is coming down. So we're hopeful, but we cannot really see beyond the end of this year. I don't think that we'll see much of an upturn. We'll see those spikes every now and again, but not a consistent upturn, no.
Well, let's look at it from the perspective of where we are. We're down, year to date, we're up just about 8%. Where do you think we might close this year?
I believe we'd probably close the year at no more than 10. No more than 10 in my estimation.
All right. Now let's get a sense of what will happen in the fourth quarter, because obviously that suggests to me that you think that we might see some upside at least in the fourth quarter. Yes. We have bank results coming on maybe in another 2 or 3 weeks. We're beginning to hear from the banks on their Q3 performances. What bearing do you think that will have on the market's direction?
Well, I believe that, as is typical, once those results start to come out, people want to take positions regarding what the potential year-end figures are going to look like. So you will see some interest again being stirred in the banking stocks. Remember as well that the banking sector controls quite a significant portion of the market capitalization. So whatever happens in the very, very strong banks with the good fundamentals, the good results, will have an initial upswing on the market, which is why I say you'd probably see the market close around about 10%.
But then let's look at the economy. I think that's going to be on the front burner going into next year now. For the half year, we've seen the GDP up in excess of 7%. But I don't think many people are celebrating that, more so in the real sector. What are your expectations for 2011 for the economy?
It's really, really, really painful that attention seems to have shifted so much from the economy to the political landscape. Now, ultimately, there's some relational integrity between the two. As we see the dust settle in the political landscape, we'll probably see a bit more concentration on the economy. But from the manufacturer's perspective, sadly, the results are not very good. Power generation has gone a bit epileptic over the last couple of weeks. There have been complaints by the Manufacturers Association that their costs have started to go up again, being that they're having to run their generators and so on and so forth. So the manufacturers might not have such a gay report, but I think that to score some political points, there has to be some redirection of efforts into the economy and those variables.
Okay, and then of course, you just mentioned manufacturers. Lending, as we know, from the MPC decisions and of course the speak we got from the central bank, lending is obviously down in 2010. How do you see that changing next year?
Next year, I believe that the banks are going to be compelled to take some positions in credit. Why? This year they have had some amount of negative carriage with respect to deposits that they've taken on board. Now, it would be nice to see that the MPR has been adjusted upwards and so on and so forth. But what I found particularly interesting was, despite the fact that deposit rates were so low, the lending rates did not come down. It was only the amount of credit that was given out that actually reduced. I think
weakness in transition mechanism.
Correct.
Obviously.
And I think ultimately they're going to have to turn the corner as they see the realities on their books at the end of the year. They're going to have to turn the corner. They're going to have to reflate the sector, the different operating sectors, to get the kind of results that the government hopes to push the political aspirations.
Yeah, very few words. Nigeria at 50, obviously happening October 1st, later this week. What are expectations for the next 50 years? Are you optimistic?
I am optimistic. There's one thing we have to be full of, it's hope. And Nigeria is the comeback kid of Africa, I think. We're going to come back from this.